the Musings podcast. I'm your host, Kungo Mildred, and I'm so happy that you joined me on another Saturday for another amazing episode. On today's episode, I'm going to be musing about men! Exclamation mark. Because I know that not all men are bad, but most of them are. And it's just so sad, and it's wrong, and it's bad, and I don't know. Women give birth to men. They give birth to these young boys. They breastfeed them. They make sure they are okay. They send them to school. They nurture them. They teach them to be good people in the society. But then they grow up into these men who are just disgusting creatures. Like, it's so hard to find like a good man in this day and age. And the reason I'm saying this, by the time this episode is coming out, it's the 2nd of May, but I'm recording this on the 19th of April. There's this issue that came out just, I think, a week ago or so, where there was a 62 million men attended an online course to be taught how to drag and rape their wives. 62 million. Let that number sink in. 62 million men all around the world attended an online course in February, or is it since February this year, to learn how to drag and rape their wives. One, who came up with that concept, like that class? Who made it? Who sat down and thought like, you know what these men need? They need to be taught how to drag and rape their wives. Because why are you dragging and raping your wife in the first place? You married this woman because I assume you loved her. And if you love her and she loves you, I'm sure you talk, you can communicate. You tell her, babe, I want this and this and this. If she says not today, you agree and you accept that. And then the next day she goes like, okay, yeah, let's do it. But even if she says no, no matter how many times she says no, you are not supposed to force yourself on her. Because it's her body at the end of the day. And no is a statement. So for 62 million, do you know how many people those are? 62 million men. So I'm like, is it the same men who are coming over and over again? Or is it just new ones? Like, is it really 62 million? Because it could be two things. It could be, we have 62 million deprived men, deranged men, perverted men. 62 million rapists in this life of ours. Or it could be a few people who kept coming back over and over again. So I'm not sure about the study. Like, I didn't read it all. I just saw that highlighted. I was like, why would men want to hurt their wives like this? Who was so depraved like they would want to do this? And you are hurting the people who gave you life. And I've heard all these things about the manosphere or something like that. There are stories online. Like, I've not been online consistently in the past month or so. Like, past month, 2 months or something like that. So a lot of things I'm not like really engaging with. So whenever I go online like once a week or twice a week or whatever, I meet this thing, and before I even get it, my bundles are over or whatever I'm using is done, and I can't really like Google it and search it and do a research on it to understand exactly what is happening. But apparently men attend such classes. That one, they were being taught how to drag and rape their wives. There are others where they're being taught to be just terrible human beings. And it's incels. So incels are these men who are technically virgins, and they believe that no woman wants to sleep with them. And they never analyze themselves and be like, I could be the problem. They think that women are the problem because they do not want to have sex with them or date them or whatever. And so they form these groups and they become toxic. They're the people who are like have the most toxic masculinity, and they think that women have no purpose in this world. They're being led by certain groups. I'm sure you've seen videos of men having podcasts and stuff like that, discussing women, saying that women were only men meant to, reproduce, and they should not have any rights. They should not be allowed to be bosses. They should not be allowed to vote. They should not be allowed, basically anything that women have fought for years to achieve in this life. And so these people, they form these groups and they discuss amongst themselves, and they, like wanachochana, they tell each other nonsense, and they keep lying to each other. And the people who are falling more for these things are the young men. Because I believe that those 62 million men, not all of them are husbands. Most of them are just young men. And they saw this course and they told somebody else, and somebody told somebody else, and they were there. And they all went to watch it. Imagine they're being taught how to drag and rape their wives, and also how to get away with it. Should they be arrested, or should somebody find out, like, how to get away with it? Imagine for you to hate a woman that much for you to be able to do that. There's somebody who said, I saw it online again, they said that straight men hate women. And I believe it. Because somebody else asked that maybe they are not straight after all. They are gay men, but they have internalized homophobia, and that's why they choose to be with women instead of being with the people that they really want to be with, and that's why they mistreat women the way they do. Because how can you want to sleep with a woman, but then you do not like her or her entire gender? And the answer is, for such men, sex is not about emotions and it's not about intimacy. It's about being in charge. It's about being in charge of the woman and taking her apart and all of these things. But then when they're done with you, they just don't care what happens to you afterwards. They leave and they're like, yeah. That's why a man can be with you, like pretend to love you, and then the next moment they're beating you up. The next moment they're cheating on you. The next moment they're just hurting you in ways that you could never believe if somebody told you that was going to be the story of your life. So which is it? Are they men who just love other men? Because I remember a man commented and was like, such men should just love other men. The insult, they should just be together themselves. This one should date the other one. This one should date each other. Because if you believe women are trash, then why are you sleeping with them? What are you doing with women then? Why don't you just go and be with other men? Because if you value men more than you value women, what are you doing with women? If you think that men are more important, then what are you doing with women? Why come to a woman's life only to ruin it by calling her names and believing that she's there to serve you? Hey, yo. Sometimes I get clips of those things. I do not want like watching them so much, because if you start doing that, your algorithm changes, and every time you go online, it's just like rage baiting you and rage baiting you. Because about these 62 million men, I remember I saw the first clip and I watched it and I was like, what? And then I saw another one, a man was talking on behalf of the women, saying that how perverted these men are and they're sick in the head and everything. And I was like, yeah, that is true. And so I liked what he was saying. So I liked that video. And then my algorithm was starting to shift, because after every 2 videos, those are the videos that were coming up. So I was like, let me go to my search page huko nyuma. I watch others that I'm usually watching that make me laugh, so that is not my algorithm. Because it's just so sad. Like, getting online nowadays is just hard for me, because every time you go there, it's just something. A man has done something. A man is online shouting out a kid by calling her sexy, and she's 12 years old and she's dancing. And then when you ask him, like, what were you thinking, say something like that to a child, they go like, if they didn't want to be seen and commented on, then they shouldn't be online. And that is an excuse that a man is giving. There's a man who said something very important, that it's all of the men until none of them is doing such things. So men should say that it's not all men. Like I started saying, like, I know it's not all men who are bad, but that particular man was saying it's all men until it's none of them. It's all men until it's none of them. Because men need to keep each other accountable. And I'm so glad that I saw a couple of men going against that and saying how sick that action is, talking like to those men who are watching those courses and attending those courses and telling them that what they were doing is perverted and is wrong. Because it is. Who raised these people? Where is their mother? Honestly, how could you have been raised by a woman and then turn around to be the kind of man who enjoys attending a class that teaches you to hurt your wife? Who raised you? Were you raised in a barn? And I know we keep on saying that, what if it was your mother? What if these people do not care clearly? They don't care. Because as I said, they were raised by somebody. They were raised by a woman. Or do you want to tell me that there are 62 million men in this life who do not have mothers, who are raised by fathers who are very despicable, who never taught them about women and how to be gentlemen? Do you honestly want to tell me that we have 62 million men who are that out of touch with human dignity, with, I don't know what we say, because men need to stand up and teach fellow men how not to be like that. Because it can't be women, because a man like that will not listen to a woman telling him not to do such a thing. A man like that will not sit down and listen to a woman go like, yo, you need to style up, you need to be a gentleman, you need to learn that women are also human beings and you should treat them with respect. You will start and they will just close off. They might even attack you because to them you are nothing already. They've been taught, they've been conditioned that a woman is nothing. And tell me, now that I'm single, am I supposed to go just, blindly and fall in love with a man and hope for the best? Like, I'll go and sleep and be like, okay, sawa sawa. Like, why? Guy, the question is still, why are you raping your wife? Why? Where is the fun in that? Or is that the thing that they were being taught in that class? The fun in forcing yourself on your wife when she's all dragged out and comatose. Is it called necrophilia? I think it's called necrophilia or something like that. That's a thing. Like having sex with a corpse or something, like something that is not moving. Is that more? Is that better than you being with somebody who's reciprocating your kisses, who's reciprocating your touches, who's actually making you aware that you're making them feel good with whatever it is that you're doing? Do you want to tell me a corpse is better than a woman who's responding to what you're doing? Because that is not for insult. That video is not for, no, it's not. Because if you've never had sex, if you've never been with a woman, so how are you in a class that is teaching men how to take advantage of their wives, knowing that you do not have a wife? But I know most of them are. And maybe they'll drag women in clubs or wherever, and you'll go and you'll wake up and you won't know what happened to you. You'll know something is wrong, and you won't know who hurt you. But it's a man who sat in their home, wasted Wi-Fi or bundles, and took part in a class that taught them how to hurt you as a woman. How depraved are these people, honestly? Yeah, I'm frightened, honestly. I go outside and look at men, and they're good ones. I know that. But then, like, this thing, I wish they could be, like, the men who attended that class, I wish their names could be put out there and their faces so that every woman, those who are married to them, could divorce them. Those who have children could be put on the list of, people who are not supposed to be anywhere near children. Let them be outed to the societies so that we can see where they'll walk. And they blame women for these problems. Now tell me, I'm a single woman who people think, the society expects me to be already married and, have children and stuff. But then I go online and that is what I see men are doing. And you expect me to still look at a man smiling at me and go like, okay, I'll be your wife. How am I supposed to trust that that man will not do the same thing that these men are doing? How am I supposed to know that this man who's smiling at me isn't one of those that took part in that? It's the same way that when that Russian man was in Africa taking videos of women without their consent and posting it on Telegram. Kenyan men were there supporting him, saying that, oh, women, why don't you take care of yourselves? Why aren't you responsible for yourselves? Why do you expect people to fight for you? Why are you blaming that? I'm like, these are the men that we are raising. I think men, they need to have sensitivity classes. You know, the way in primary school, girls used to be called out of the classrooms and taken to another room and taught about pads and periods and everything. Well, that is happening. I think the men who are remaining in the classes should be put together and spoken to about how to ask for consent, how to be respectful, and stuff like that. Because we teach our women how to take care of themselves, how to protect themselves, dress decently. Do not, do not provoke the men. Do not do, but nobody teaches these men not to sit in a class and be taught how to hurt women. Nobody teaches these men to be respectful. Nobody teaches these men not to hurt women. But somebody can come up with an entire course to teach men on how to hurt women. And somehow the society is supposed to accept that. And even the people in the society who will see that, and a woman comes out and says, my husband took part in that course and he actually hurt me, some stupid people will still say, why had you denied him sex in the first place for him to do that to you? You are the reason why he did that. Some stupid people will still blame the wife because it's always the women who are a problem to these men. The men are never a problem. Because men, I see them commenting and talking about them in podcasts and being like, why are women refusing to bear children? Why are women refusing to be married? Why are women choosing to be single? Why are women... And I'm like, because of you. They asked why women chose to be stuck with a bear in a forest instead of a man. And we're like, because of this. How are you sure that the man that was stuck in a forest with was not a man who was attending such a class? How are you sure that that man is not the one who organized for this class to happen? The bear, I know it will ravish me, it will eat me up, it will chew me, and if it's full, it will not even care. And that will still be okay. Because by the end of it, I'll be dead with the bear. I know where I stand with it. With this man, you do not know. You might be okay in 1 second, and the next second you're on the ground fighting for your safety. And this man looking at you worse than the face of that bear. Because the bear will attack you because it's hungry, this man will attack you for power. Because he can. And woof. I fear for every girl child who is still growing up. I fear for us who are like in our midlife or whatever. I fear for the older generation because I don't know. If we do not do something with the men that are being raised now, if the men who are here now, who are the older generation, if they do not do something to try and change the narrative, I'm afraid that by the time 20, 30 years from now, I think women will be running away from men, literally. Because in Feb or March, there was that thing in Nigeria where men were running around the streets, and if they find a woman, they were allowed to take advantage of them. And they did that to one girl. At least one that we know of. What kind of society is that? That such a culture is still existing in this day and age. And still, it will be the woman's fault because you knew the men were out there doing that. Why were you there? You should have stayed indoors. Because the woman, again, is always the problem. It's never the man's fault because the man is so puny. The man is so naive. The man is so weak that he can only be pushed by his worst vices. His desire is what pushes him to move on, to survive, to act. A woman has to have her guards high all the time. But a man, no. Live freely, do stupid things, find a woman, take advantage of them, and then at the end of it all, it will still be the woman's fault because why didn't you take care of yourself to make sure that that man did not do what he did to you. My God. I don't know. I'm going to stop there because just thinking about it, from the moment I saw that news, it has just been doing something to my brain, and I don't want to continue thinking about it, honestly. I don't. I'm just so tired. And I'm praying that at least the governments in the world, all around the world, will do something about this thing. And for once, they will stand with the women and not these predators, not these conniving and demented souls that we call our sons, we call our brothers, we call our uncles, our fathers. It is just disgusting, honestly. And if these men do not want to be around women, let them find their own country. I don't know, somewhere. I'm sure there are islands that do not have anybody. They can go there, live there by themselves, and love on each other because they are men who love men. Let them go and do. And I'm not saying that in a good way. Not like, oh, happy pride, blah, blah, like in a disgusting kind of way, because such men, they won't even be okay with their fellow men like that. If you can hate on a woman the way these men hate on women, there's no way they can have love in them to love even fellow men. So, not like gay in a good way. Like, I don't know even how to explain it. It's just bad. It's disgusting. They're nasty. Yeah, so I'm going to leave it at that. If you have suggestions of what to do with those 62 million, please comment in the comment section down below. Remember that I'm still baking. Make your orders. If you want me to cook for you, tell me about it. And follow me on Instagram and on TikTok, Mimi's Musings Podcast. And then come back. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell notifications so that whenever I upload something new, you're going to be amongst